Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guest today is the guest speaker for this year's Odyssey Convocation, Mucha Murapa, former Troy University alumnus, here back on campus to talk to students. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Aaron. Thank you.
And first off, before we get into talk about the convocation, what you said there, tell us a little about yourself and what you're doing nowadays.
Well, I am a marketing consultant and a coach to entrepreneurs, new businesses, teaching them how to sort of make this transition to digital marketing. So it includes social media, email marketing. Some organizations need me to do it for them. Others want me to go in and coach their people and do it.
And of course, as I said, you're an alumnus. You were here, and as here you were involved with the athletic program here, correct?
Correct. I played on the tennis team as well as spending some time around the studio here as well.
And so let's talk now about bringing you back for the Odyssey Convocation. How did it feel to be offered the opportunity to be able to talk at the convocation?
Well, I've said a couple of times, it's the biggest honor of my life, you know, because number one, to have the Chancellor ask me personally. Over the last few years, he's been saying, you've got to come back, and I've been saying, I'm coming back, but this was a project, and when he explained Odyssey and what it meant, that just made it even more significant, and I said, look, I've got to be here.
And of course, for you talk about being an honor, and you had a chance to talk to the incoming freshmen. For those who are uninitiated out there, the Odyssey Convocation is an opportunity of the first big event for freshmen on campus. So you're pretty much, they've been on campus for maybe 24 hours before they come and they see you. What did you hope that they were going to learn from you in taking part in this convocation?
Well, what I always try and do, and it's something that I do in the business world, is you try and learn and understand as much about the people you're going to be talking about. And what I felt was that not only were the students there, they're the parents there. So I said to myself, well, what are the parents thinking? What's going through their thoughts? What are they worried about? And then with the students as well, what are they thinking? So when I put together my speech and my encouragement, number one, I wanted to first say to the parents, look, you've made a fantastic choice. Appreciate that it's tough for you now, you know, sort of it's the start of a new time in their lives, if you like, but they're in good hands here. And then to the students, it was very much about saying congratulations, you know, this is what you can expect. This is my experience when I was here, and here's my advice on how you can get the best out of it.
And of course, when you were a student here, and you graduated in
95.
Now, the Odyssey Convocation, this is its 10th year, so obviously it wasn't in existence when you were a student here. But do you feel that something like this might have been a benefit to you when you were a student?
It would have been huge. I mean, I sort of talked about it a little bit my first day here. And I remember flying into Atlanta, getting a car, driving, and everything was just unknown, and getting here. And I actually got to know some local folks first out on the golf course. That was my introduction to the town. And I just feel that, you know, there's a saying that, you know, before you go into the woods, you know, you get the map before you go into the woods. And I just think this would provide that sort of initial step into, at the time, something that's unknown.
And of course, for a lot of the students out there, it may be scary for them walking the situation, and the chance to see someone who's gone through it and someone who has succeeded since they left here, obviously that's got to be a benefit.
It has. I think one of the big things that we don't talk about enough is when we begin to progress, we're in the unknown and we have perceived problems and anxieties, but it's only because we're making a positive step in another direction. So I just really wanted to underline that. It's kind of like with sports. You say, you know, butterflies and nerves, that's okay. It shows you're present, if you like.
And of course, for you, the return trip, have you had a chance to come back to Troy since you graduated?
No, this is the first time here in 19 years, and you know, everyone was telling me, look, you're not going to recognize the place. And you know, the funny thing is, so much is different, but I recognize the culture and the spirit.
And of course, in some of those changes, a lot of it, you said the spirit's still there. It still stays the same. So you can impart some of your experience from the old ways, but in an ever-changing world, there's got to be some opportunities to be able to change themselves, correct?
Yeah, no, and I'm just excited. I've said it several times. If there's one thing that I've said over the last few days since being here, is how excited I am for the students that are currently here and the ones thinking of coming here as well. It's all here for them, and they can look back and they can draw from what we did in the past and what, you know, who laid the foundation, the trailblazers, but they can take advantage of what's available to them now.
Well, it's a good opportunity to be able to have you back here on campus and obviously impart some words of wisdom to the incoming freshmen, and I'm sure they're going to take some of those words of wisdom and use it towards their career here at Troy. I want to thank you for joining us, and have a safe trip back home, and thanks for joining us on Trojan Talk today.
My pleasure, Aaron. Thank you.
And thank you for Trojan Talk. That's all the time. Thank you for joining us.